So, as you're here now, tell us about your journey so far and how things have been at TMA.
So so far it was an amazing journey. So after the events of the Ukrainian war, we had to return back to our homes, in which we had to contact the agency in order to find another university, which happened to be TMA. Now TMA was very quick with in terms of getting me my interviews, in which I had that within a week, and fortunately I was able to get a response. And I immediately transferred to the clinical years because I have done the first 3 years in Ukraine. So currently I'm in the clinical years, and from comparing to the Ukraine, it's amazing. Like I really, really enjoy it. And the doctors' English are very good. They are very they're more. I would say that their technology wise are very advanced. In comparing to Ukraine, I was in TMA we were able to set our exams through computers. So immediately by the time we leave the exam hall, we're able to get our exam results, which is amazing. So I'm very happy about that.
Fantastic. And have you been able to start your clinical rotations so far?
Yes, yes. So I've just finished my cardiology at the hospital. So fortunately, we had a conference room in the hospital, and in that conference room, we revise our preclinical, so the theoretical things, and then we apply it with our patients in the hospital. So we used to go see patients, perform ultrasounds, ECGs, and then just applying our knowledge. And then the most important thing was the diagnosis. So things that would prepare us for I would say, as a real life doctor in the future, hopefully.
Fantastic. And how being in TMA now, how have you found kind of the support throughout your fourth year? Because you're now hands-on, you're in the hospital. So how
Yeah,
do you find the support from the teachers in the hospital as well as the classroom setting?
that's a very good question. So majority of my times, very, very rarely I'm at the campus. However, the times that I am at the campus, we have the office in which is like a student's office. So we go speak to the dean. We ask them any sort of concerns or queries, and then they shed some lights. For example, if I was able to, for example, let's say I needed to find a doctor for my next rotations, I would like to prepare ahead for that. I would like the syllabus for it. They point us to the direction. They'll give us the doctor's email. We contact them. They're very helpful in the university. As for the hospital, in terms of the hands-on experience, is for me is my favorite. From the classmates that have been at that university from the first year, they have they have had practice on dummies in their first, second, and third years. So on our university, we have a whole floor on the ground floor. The whole of the ground floor is full of like clinical practice for the theoretical years. And whenever I needed to like refresh on how to suture, or if I needed to refresh on how to perform auscultations or emergency life supports, I'm able to go there and speak to the person, one of the doctors that are in charge of that place, and ask them if they can help me with that.
Fantastic. Thank you for sharing that. Um, as you're in year four, have you had the chance to interact with patients and treat patients, or have you had that experience yet?
Yes, yes, immediately. From the in fact from the first week that I've started from at the TMA Tbilisi Medical Academy, it's amazing. One thing I do need to mention that was very interesting, that I really liked about this university. They are an American-based university. They've been established for quite a while. I believe over 30 years. Correct me if I'm wrong, Edmund. So yeah, I think it was there
Yes,
over
you are
30
correct.
years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's correct.
They do offer those that are wanting to sit the USMLE. So they support in that. And so some doctors can concentrate on in terms of how to help people with step one for exam, or what sort of resources do you use, and then they bring that forward for you. So that's been amazing.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Now, of course, big question that some of our students tend to ask, of course, the ones with the faith or Muslim, they want to know, what is it like for a young Muslim boy to be there? And also as a Muslim, how have you found that environment?
Yes. As a Muslim individual, we have two very big mosques that we can attend. Well, technically three. We've got three big mosques that we can attend, scattered all over the city. Let's say I'm in hospital in the south side of the city. I'm able to attend that mosque for Friday prayers. So, and also there's one that's close to a different campus that we needed to go to, and it's available for all students. But in terms of, I could, as behalf of a Muslim guy, I'd be more than happy to tell you that for me, I have not experienced any racial sort of issues here in Georgia. So I could say that with confidence.
Thank you, because it's a big topic we get to ask. Of course, some of the girls who are Muslim as well, who wear the hijab, some girls who
Yeah.
don't, they get very concerned about going abroad because they don't want to feel out of place when they go.
Yeah.
How is the multiculturalism in Georgia
Yeah.
for you in
I
terms
could
of
add to your
diversity?
point, actually. Add to my point, Edmund. So there's a lot of hijabi ladies, students here in Georgia. So for them, I see them everywhere and about. So it seems like it's okay for them. In terms of the multicultural, I've seen plenty of people all over the world, from Australia up to Canada, to Brazil. Someone in my class is from Brazil. We have a lot of Indian students, Pakistani students, and like myself, from a UK student.
Fantastic! It sounds like you're kind of immersed yourself in a world of
You have
different
to,
cultures.
as a medical student, you have to, Edmund.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
For you as a British student going to Georgia, how have you found the culture? Was it kind of a big culture shock, or how did you manage to transition quite well?
I would say from Ukraine, it was I managed to pick up a bit of the local language. So learning it was majority of the time I learned it from the streets or from the bakeries, or from the locals. So I generally picked up a language from the Ukraine, and I applied that here in Georgia. So a lot of the youngsters here in UK in Georgia, they do speak English. Quite a lot of them. I believe that in their curriculum, the Georgian curriculum, they do speak. They need to speak English. So it wasn't that difficult for me. So I'm happy with that.
Fantastic. And finally, Abdul, what sort of challenge did you face in Georgia when you got there? And what did you do to kind of overcome that challenge?
That's
Because
a
it
good
can't
question.
just be
No,
it
no,
can't
no,
just be all roses. It can't just be all great.
no.
I'm sure you will have faced some challenges yourself.
Yeah. So if it's to do with the sort of education, normally we have either a group leader. So a group leader that we could call them or message them at any time. If it's to do with the office, we could speak to the dean directly or their associates directly. So if it's something to do with the education issues, then you could speak to them without hesitation, and they will get back to you as soon as possible. In terms of something around the cities, that's when either the locals or the like, let's say I get stuck, I call you Edmund, I'll be like, Edmund, who can I go to about this issue? And also this is a very good thing in terms of the landlords here are quite friendly. from my experience, they're quite friendly here. So I've had an issue where I needed to find an iron to iron my shirt. So they pointed my direction, or they asked me. I needed to go pay for bills, and they're situated all over the city, where you can pay your bills either online or in these cash machines. So there is about reaching out to people rather than be quiet. If you do be quiet, then you can't really solve the issue.
Fantastic. And did meddling support you when you first arrived in Georgia, in terms of
Yes,
getting the arrival and then throughout
yes.
your journey there?
So what we needed to do, so as soon as I send my flight number, I send so what happened with my flight is when I went, it was a funny story because my second flight got delayed for some reason. But because they've tracked the flight, there was a car, one of the Medlinks, they were there ready to pick me up. So I was okay for that.
That's very good. Thank you. And it's of course normal for things like this to happen, and it shows that our team were also monitoring the flight situation as well. So it's good
Mm,
to hear that you have that support, and knowing that even if your flight was delayed and you arrived, you would still have that
arrived
support.
safely.
The last question we have for you, there's a lot of students watching this. You've had a
Okay.
journey which, of course, it got interrupted, and then you still managed to continue. So there is the need for you to become a doctor is still there, and we appreciate the fact that you're still carrying on with the dream. What advice do you have for those students that are watching? Some of them are probably thinking, "Oh,
Mm.
I'll just take a gap year or another gap year, or I'm not sure if I want to go abroad." What advice do you have for those?
Okay, I'll give you a little background. So I initially wanted to study medicine from the time that I entered college, so college time, so high school, just after high school. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get into the UK for my circumstances. Now, with that, I was still determined whether or not to go. I was contemplating whether or not to take a gap year. But why would I waste a whole year when I could be a whole year closer to becoming a doctor than waste to me, I wouldn't be able to use that as a constructive year. So I strongly believe that if you're considering to take a gap year, why don't you just maybe have a flight to Georgia, see the university yourself. If you like it, then just go for it. I would say that it's the only thing that's stopping you is yourself. So if you want to become a doctor, then go for it. But you have to love this. You have to love medicine to do it.
Fantastic. You're very, very much right on this, and it's the passion, and of course that's the reason why you've continued your journey.
Of course.
And we really can't wait to see, what type of doctor you'll become. We can't wait to see that journey
Yeah.
unfold. But thank you. I know you'll be staying over for some Q&A as well, but thank you so much for sharing your journey with us and your story. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you very much, Eden.